This video is intended to be a guideline for proper installation techniques using Tarcat products. For complete details, refer to the complete installation instructions for your product. All products must be stored in an indoor, climate-controlled space. Tarcat products, including adhesives, must be site conditioned for 48 hours prior to, during, and after installation. Standard installations of Tarcat Homogeneous sheet vinyl can be installed using Tarcat 925 or Roll Smart adhesives. In this video, we will show you how to use Roll Smart adhesive, which will allow heat welding and traffic immediately after installation. Follow all instructions on the adhesive pail for proper application amounts and roller nap. Rolls must be stored and secured vertically, tightly rolled face out on an appropriate sturdy cardboard tube. Do not lay rolls on their side or leave them on a pallet. Begin your installation by marking out the area of install for adhesive application. Sweep the area to ensure it is free of all dust, loose particles, or other foreign material that could affect the adhesive bond to the substrate. Unroll your material to begin a dry lay so that material can be cut to length and seams can be identified. Install rolls in sequential order following the roll numbers printed on the roll label. The last 3 digits of the batch number will indicate the roll number. After measuring the length of your room, measure and mark the piece to length, allowing approximately 3 inches excess for trimming. Use a straight edge and a knife to score the material. Avoid cutting entirely through the material. Do not cut over finished flooring to prevent damage caused by the knife. Follow up the first cut with a second cut, using a hook blade to cut through the remainder of the material. Using a Selvage edge trimmer, square the selvage edge of the first sheet where it will meet the second sheet at the seam. When creating a seam, always reverse sheets. Clearly mark the orientation of your sheet so that once adhesive is applied, you can lay them back in the same order and direction. Repeat the previous step on the second sheet and square the selvage edge. Identify any seam lines and mark on the subfloor using a chalk line. Return your starting sheet of vinyl to the area of installation, ensuring you line up your reference marks and that the sheets will be reversed. Position the sheet so that it aligns with your seam marking on the subfloor. Using a weighted 3-section roller, place this on the sheet up to the halfway point to ensure the placement of the sheet is not disturbed during trimming. Place masking tape on the seam edge in numerous places and create a pencil mark from the subfloor onto the vinyl sheet. This will allow for alignment when placing the sheet into the adhesive. Using a sharp knife, remove excess material at the walls. Heat can be used to make the material more flexible. Press the material down into the corner. Allow the material to create a dog ear shape and cut the center of this dog ear. Use a sharp knife to cut the material net to the wall. Fold the sheet back to the lengthwise halfway point. Use a chalk line to mark this halfway point on the subfloor and place masking tape at this line. This will prevent over-application of adhesive that can telegraph through the face of the material. Apply adhesive according to all label instructions. For Roll Smart application, use a small chip brush at the halfway line previously established and around the perimeter. Utilize the wet film thickness gauge to ensure proper adhesive coverage. Always hold the gauge at the top where circular hole is located. Press the teeth into the wet adhesive. The adhesive residue should be visible on the 10 to 14 mil teeth of the gauge. Remove the masking tape from the subfloor. Transfer the halfway marking to your open area of installation. Also establish a point approximately 6 inches into the adhesive from the halfway point. These marks are for future reference when rolling the flooring material after it is placed into the adhesive. Once the Roll Smart adhesive is dried completely, with no transfer to fingers, use a rag dampened with water to wipe the halfway point on the back of the sheet vinyl. This will prevent immediate bond as you place the sheet into the adhesive. Place the sheet into the adhesive, taking care to ensure the sheet properly aligns with all reference marks. Using a 3-section, 100 pounds roller, roll the flooring in both directions in the area of the adhesive. Be careful not to roll at the halfway mark where you have dampened the back of the material. Fold the second half of the sheet back. The dampened edge should lift out of the adhesive. Repeat the adhesive application process. Place the second half of the sheet into the adhesive. Repeat the rolling of the flooring, ensuring that you roll the halfway mark that you did not roll previously. Scribe the area where the sheet meets existing flooring. It is good practice to check for fit within the first couple of inches to ensure the tools are adjusted properly. Use a sharp knife to cut off excess material. Roll the edge with a hand roller to ensure bond with the adhesive. Bring second sheet of material into the area of installation. When creating a seam, always reverse sheets. Ensure that reference marking match. Overlap seam area approximately a half an inch to allow for later scribing. Transfer seam reference markings from the first sheet to the second. Again, use your 3-section roller and place it on the sheet to hold it in place. Repeat the steps for trimming the perimeter of the flooring and any inside corners. Roll back the second sheet halfway and repeat all adhesive application and rolling processes. Again, scribe and cut the excess sheet material and use a hand roller where it meets existing floor coverings. Remove all seam reference markings and masking tape at the seam area. Use a recess scribe to score the top sheet of material. Use a sharp knife to follow this score mark and remove the excess material. The cut must be perpendicular. Do not angle the knife blade. Use a hand roller to ensure bond at the seam area. The finished gap between sheets should not exceed 1/64 inch, which is the approximate thickness of a business card. This gap will guide the router. Refer to the Target Homogeneous Sheet Vinyl Seam Construction and Heat Welding Guides for further information on seaming. Use a router to prep the seam for heat welding. Ensure that the groover is centered and that approximately half to 2/3 of the material is being routed. Use a hand router in hard-to-reach areas. Use a narrow preheat tip for heat welding sheet vinyl. Protect the edge surface of any existing flooring from the heat of the weld gun with 2 layers of masking tape. Use a coordinating Target vinyl weld rod to heat weld the seam. Ensure that weld gun temperature and speed achieve an appropriate wash of the weld rod onto the surface of the vinyl. There are numerous tools to trim the excess of the welding rod. Utilize either a 1/4 moon knife and trim plate or a Mozart knife. It is recommended to begin your welding at any walls or endpoints and work in towards the halfway point of the seam. Where you stop welding at the center, complete a first pass of the weld at the end and cut a notch out of the very end of the weld thread. Complete the first pass of the completed weld using a Mozart knife or 1/4 moon knife with trim plate. Wait until the weld rod is cooled completely to room temperature, which is approximately 20 minutes depending on site conditions, before performing the final trim of the weld thread. By following the printed installation instructions and using the techniques demonstrated in this video, installations can be performed safely, efficiently, and professionally every time. Visit Target.com for the most current installation and maintenance instructions.